Welcome to Australian Horse Outback Life with Roz. I'm going to try and groom my boy. And so I'm going to do a quick video for Marion, one of our subscribers, and tell the story of Billy. And while I groom him, hopefully he'll stay still long enough for me to talk about Billy's story. Anyway, when we first got Billy, he was sold to me as a 4-year-old, but in reality he probably was between 2 and 2.5. I bought him from an online auction, and he was sold as a well, the ad that was on there said that he was a first cross quarter horse, but I wasn't. When I was looking for a horse, I was looking for a companion for Bella, so I wasn't particularly looking for any particular type of horse. I just wanted something that I thought was going to be a suitable companion, and I wanted a gelding. So anyway, I looked through the site, and I looked at his face, and that's really all I could see. So I could only really see face on, and Bill had this little face. So I'll just kind of move this back a little bit so you can see us a bit better. But all I could see was his face and his chest. But he was so narrow. It was just unbelievable how narrow he was. And he had these really sad little eyes. Anyway, I looked at other horses, but I kept coming back to him, and there was just something about him that was different. And I couldn't figure out what it was, but I decided, you know what? I can't go past the picture of his face and his eyes and the sadness that was in there. And so I decided to bid on him, and he had quite a high reserve on him. And but anyway, I ended up paying about $1,000 for him, and then I had about $400 in transport fees. Hang on a sec, he's going to annoy me. He's got a thing about cameras. And yeah, so he was on for, I paid about $1,000 for him. The problem was that COVID had started, and I couldn't go down and see him, and that was one of the reasons. Don't you bite my boot? One of the reasons why I had to buy him, so I can't see. Anyway, I hired a horse transporter to come down and get him from Melbourne. When the horse transporter got there, he rang me up and he said to me, "Do you know what you've bought, Roz?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Have you got any idea?" And I said, "Well, I saw a picture of him." And then the horse transporter said to me, "Roz, I hate to be the one to bear bad news to you, but," he said, "I don't think your horse is going to make it to your property." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "He's at the point of death. He's starved. He's got no energy or strength." He said, "I don't even know if I could make it to my own place." He said, "What do you want me to do?" And so I said to Shannon, that was his name, I said, "Take him to your racing stables if you can get him there, and get a vet out for me." So Shannon did that. Shannon got Bill and took him there, and because fortunately for me, Shannon had a racing stable and was highly experienced with horses, so he got a vet out. The vet checked Bill, and he said he's very close to death. He's been absolutely starved. He said, "I don't know what else is wrong with him, but let's hydrate him." And also glad he's dehydrated. Bill drinks a lot of water. I'm always really careful about that with him. Anyway, so Shannon kept Bill at his pace for about 2 days and nursed him to give him a bit of strength. And then Shannon said, "I really don't know if he's going to live, Rob," he said, "or have the strength to make it to your pace." And so anyway, we decided, you know what, let's just try and see how we go. So Shannon managed to get Phil to our place, and he was covered up in a blanket, so I really couldn't see how thin he was. And when Shannon brought him off the truck and took him into our courtyard area, we pulled the rug off and literally we nearly fell over. He was just a skeleton. He was a tiny little skeleton, and just couldn't believe it. We just thought, how the hell is he still alive? And he was so shut down. He would hide and hide in corners and pretend he wasn't there. So you know, we were really kind of shocked beyond fathoming, to tell you the truth. Kelly and I just kept looking at him and thinking, how the hell is he alive? Anyway, I got on to the girl that I bought him off and got the story out of her. Took me a number of sessions, threatened her with all kinds of things, but really I just wanted to know the story of Bill, because you know, to be able to help him, I needed to know where he originally came from, what were the biggest issues that she dealt with him, and you know, I put together really the beginnings of Bill, and we had his teeth checked. Turned out that she'd sold him as a 4-year-old. He was actually, like I said, 2.5, between 2.5 and 2. He had all his baby teeth, and she'd said that he'd come in during the droughts in 2019 out of the Victorian Highlands with a herd, and we now realise it was a herd of brumbies, but he was separated from the herd because he had a fairly serious head injury and he was meant to go off to slaughter, so he was separated from his family group. And from there, she bid against a fellow who worked for the slaughterhouse, and she bought him for $100. She took him back to Melbourne, and they did a little bit of work initially on him, but Bill didn't fit in anywhere because Bill was a Brumby and he didn't understand about fencing. He didn't understand about adjustment herd hierarchy, so he couldn't compete because he was still a bubba and up against mature horses who wouldn't let him get resources. She wasn't buying food for him, so every time I stop, he's very spoiled now. So he wasn't getting fed proper food. He needed a lot of good quality food and didn't have any because he'd been starving. Out in the wild, and then he was starving, so in an adjustment facility. So for 2 years he literally survived off nothing, and eventually his body's just started to eat itself, and he was just on the verge of dying. And I think the girl owed money at the adjustment facilities, and they started to get on to her about his condition probably, and they didn't want the responsibility of a horse dying of starvation on their property, and she owed them money. So she thought she'd put him up on the auction site and she'd lie. Anyway, you know, look, we just thought the only thing we could do was not be naughty Bill. He likes his neck done all the time. So hang on a second, I'll just turn this around a bit. Anyway, so the first couple of weeks we kept him in quarantine away from Bella because we didn't know whether he had any diseases or not. And from there we slowly introduced him, but I had to be super careful because he could have got rebound. It wasn't just, all of this was just exposed. It was just skeleton. You could see every rib that he had. His backbone was sunk. Apparently her boyfriend used to jump on his back, and bear in mind that Bill would have been between 1 and 2 when her boyfriend was jumping on his back, and she was bragging how he didn't move. He was so starved and so sick and so neglected. How could he run away from an adult man who was jumping on his back? He was terrified. So Bill just shut down. So these are some of the issues that Bill faced in that sort of situation. And so Bill was so frightened that he was going to be punished or hurt. If he did say this around him in the early days, he'd have jumped over to the other side of the pen by now and he would have thrown his head around. So he didn't like fast hand movements because he'd been hit in the head. Now, you know, I can do whatever, and he don't like it, but he doesn't run away because he knows that I'm never going to hurt him. He's quite sure about that. And so we had to do a lot of work. He didn't like men. He still can be a bit surly with men, to tell you the truth. If I'm there, he's good, but I still have a few reservations because Bill, every now and then, he can be a bit grumbly towards men just for the sake of it. I don't know whether it's to do with abuse and his past, with the capture. He's very clever, so he's got a good memory system, and it could be that too. So that's a bit of Bill's story. I'll go into more detail over what we did to get him better, and you know, the things that we had to do, my training. But I had to take everything slowly. The other problem I had with Bill was that I was going blind, so I couldn't even see. Will you stop it? Why are you cranky? I'm going to get him some chamomile tea, I think, because I've noticed the last couple of days he's cranky. He's cranky over his back line, so I think that in one of his frolics or antics, he's actually pulled something, and so when I brush him in this area here, he's not happy. And it's not the first time I've noticed him being cranky with me when I go over his back line, so I'd say that he's pulled something or it's a bit sore. Anyway, I'll sort that out. I'll go and get him some chamomile tea. That'll de-stress him a bit. He always responds really well to that. And we'll see how we go. He's definitely not a happy chappy at the moment. He's not sick or anything, he's just down. And if there's one thing I know with Bill, is that he is very expressive, as you've probably all noticed. He's feeling happy, we all know it. If he's feeling a little bit down, we all know it. He wants something, we all know it. It's not hard to tell, is it, honey bunny? It's not hard to tell. What? What? What is it you need? Is it food? Let's get to the bottom of this. What is it you need, Fatty? Are you hungry? Is that what you need? Would you like your neck done? Yeah? So it's incredibly spoiled. He's saying no. Oh yes. Get under here. Where else is not here? He's very selective where he wants me to brush him. And for some reason, this last week, that side of his body he's not keen about, this side he likes me to do. I haven't really worked out why, other than that maybe he hurt himself over his back line. I'm not going to push it though. Whatever it is, we'll get to the bottom of it. The allergies again. Definitely that opposite side. when I stand next to him, as you can see, he towers. So he was probably just scratching 14 hands. He's a hell of a lot taller now, aren't you, Teddy boy? What, honey? Do you want me to go and get you your afternoon dinner? Is that what you want? He's very particular about what he wants. And don't do that. You don't push our mothers. So now I'm going to sigh with disgust. The girl over there. Do you want your dinner? Do you want dinner? Is that what you want, honey bunny? Yeah? You want dinner? Are you hungry? You are hungry. Alright. You want me to go and get your dinner for you? No, I was trying to brew your chamomile tea. You're hungry, aren't you? I can see that you've got stress. Yes, you've got stress here. No, I'm not doing that with you. Hang on, and I'll go and get your stuff. Alright, Kel's calling me. So I better go. When I get back, I'll feed the animals.